Hey guys, Ben Labadie here, and I am with the federal conservative candidate for Chatham-Kent Leamington, Dave Epp. Dave, thanks for coming in, man.
Ben, good to see you again. Good to be back.
Yeah, because we did an interview back in the day when you were running
For the nomination.
For the
That's right.
nomination. So this is not your first time.
No,
but
familiar
now
territory.
now I have a sign behind us, so now it's pretty cool. So again, hey, for the audience and people watching, this interview is about getting to know David, who Dave is, where he comes from, and really just to get to know the candidates like we did with the NDPs and the Liberals. So we're not going to be taking questions from you guys today, but hopefully you come back another time where
Sure.
people can ask all the questions they want, and we'll have a lot of fun with that, especially people watching always have fun with that. So let's get to it. And like, share, comment. If they do have questions, you can go in there and answer some later.
Absolutely. So
All right.
ask me, what do you want to know about me?
Well, here's what I want to know. Why are you running?
Why
what
would
got you-
anyone do
Why are you
this?
getting into politics?
So usually I respond by saying, I've actually always been in politics, but it's a different arena this time. So I've been fortunate that since early in my agricultural career, I've had the opportunity to represent growers
Okay.
into the vegetable industry. So since the age of 26 was the first time I was elected. And so throughout that whole period, I've been involved with agriculture in various organizations. I spent some time, as everyone knows, on the Ontario Processing Vegetable Growers through that executive, then was appointed to the AgriCorps board. So within that field, within small business, I've got a fair bit of experience representing others. I did a lot of that when my family was young, so I was gone a lot, and so I made a bit of a bargain with my wife, or maybe more appropriately, she made a bargain with me, and that when my daughters hit their teenage years, I would be around more. So I did leave the vegetable board, and I was fortunate enough that at the time to be involved with AgriCorps, which was a few less days a year, and also became more involved with my local community. So there's a local school there. I joined the board of directors and chaired it for a while. I was involved with my municipality, served on the committee of adjustment there, but got involved with the local hockey club with some fundraising activities. And actually, there's a lot of music in our family. And so one of the jobs, one of the tasks I very much enjoyed volunteering for was coordinating O Canada singers for the Leamington Flyers. And so
Really?
if I'm honored enough to represent this riding, which I would like that honor, I will have some conflict, and that conflict will be when the Maroons play the Flyers. And as my predecessor has said, you know, his heart, given where he lived, just fell slightly with the Maroons. And I'll be honest, folks, I will represent this whole riding, and I said this in the nomination process. But on those head-to-head games, the edge has got to go to the Flyers in my heart.
Now, our current mayor, Darren Caniff, has a battle with the Leamington mayor there for these games.
Exactly.
I remember watching him run
Yeah.
from Leamington all the way to Chatham. There was a video out there. What made you want to go? Oh, by the way, do you play an instrument or do you sing? What do you do? You sing
I've
music.
asked that. Yeah, we have a lot of music in our family. So I did take a lot of piano when I was much younger. I traded that for flying lessons the moment I turned 16, which is one of my regrets.
Like airplane.
Airplane. I was flying an airplane before I was 17. I was one of my childhood dreams, and so I was able to accomplish that. I quit piano lessons, and I rue that the fact. But I went on and through university as a minor, took a lot of conducting and arranging courses.
Okay.
And so when people ask me, what instrument do I play? I jokingly say I play people, because I've had the opportunity to direct choirs. So I do very much enjoy vocal music. For a time, I sang in a quartet. I've had the opportunity to lead church choirs. I still serve with our congregation Sunday mornings at times, leading congregational singing. And so very much enjoy music. My oldest daughter, her passion is opera. So if you've heard of, I'll give a plug to Abridged Opera. So she's the operations manager there, has just come back from Italy from 6 weeks of studying with master classes. So
Really?
I'm blessed with 4 daughters, my wife and I, Charlene and I, and music runs through them. Our third daughter graduated her undergrad with a performance piano degree, and then is now articling, finishing off her lawyer studies.
Awesome. So you'll also come back and do some tunes for us, okay?
Hey.
Sounds good.
Actually, you'll do the tunes. I'll do the leading. How's that? I'm used to directing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you went from piano to airplanes. That's an interesting switch.
It is an interesting switch. It's a childhood, so it's always flying has always been a passion of mine, and maybe someday we'll get back to it.
Okay. So why did you choose the Conservative Party?
Why the Conservative Party? I begin this answer always with the very first principle of the party, which is one that really speaks to, I guess, a bit of how I view government, how it should operate. Very much that the first principle of the party believes in the balance, and balance is an important word for me, between prudent fiscal accountability, basically being responsible with your money. as we have to be with our businesses, with our families, and that's balanced with, and we have an obligation as a society to take care of our vulnerable. So the first principle of that first party is the balance of prudent fiscal accountability with compassionate social policy. Again, always striving, for self-reliance and encouraging each of us to do better.
Awesome. Now, you got a big riding.
Yes.
Chatham-Kent Leamington. How's the campaign going? This is your first big campaign.
That's right. This is back to the question of politics. So I've always been involved with, but this is my first foray into public politics.
Okay.
So that is different. And I'm learning as I go, but I've got great people around me. I've got a lot of experience around me, and I've got a great team. We've got 2 full campaign teams out there, knocking on doors, putting up signs. It's a humbling process for the amount of people that are putting time and energy into it. And I want to give a shout out also to all the other volunteers and all the other campaigns. You're doing a lot of civic service. You're serving your country in this process. And a shout out to you.
And on that topic, it's always great to see people come out and get involved in politics, and for whatever party that they choose or want to. And then some people really don't know, but they latch onto a party to get involved, and then later on they choose, well, this is more the party for me, or this is more the party for me. What do you say to encourage, especially youth, to get out there and get involved in these campaigns?
Understand the issues, and then understand what the broad goals are of the party. From a conservative perspective, it is that balance. We understand that as business people, we understand that as families, that over time, we have to take care of our finances so that our social programming is sustainable, so that we can take care of the vulnerable in our society, so that we can take care of our seniors. Over time, that has to work out. And I guess that's what draws me to the Conservative Party, is that they understand that balance. Okay. In the economy, we're part of a trading nation, we're part of a world economy, a global economy, and so we operate within those cycles. Hey, Canada's booming right now. Generally speaking, our economy is good. The world came through the 2008, 2009 recession, and that was tough for all countries. Canada came through it as well as anyone in the G7, and we got back to a balanced budget. Let's look back over the last 4 years. That's what worries me. When I'm out knocking on doors, that's what I'm hearing. People are worried for the future. When in these times, we can't pay down some of our debt, what's going to happen when interest rates rise? What's going to happen when unemployment goes up? When we're going to need more of our dollars for social programming? Right now, we're adding on to debt, and I'm hearing that over and over at the doors.
Absolutely. Okay, now, what do you think? Now, you said the economy is booming. Everybody hears the words, the economy's great, everybody's doing well. But not everybody is doing well.
That's right.
Especially in Chatham-Kent, not everybody has high-paying jobs. They have minimum wage jobs, a lot of minimum wage jobs. Rent is high. Housing prices is high. What can the Conservative Party do for that to address those kind of problems?
Appreciate the question. I was actually visiting a senior 2 days ago in a small town. I asked him, he was on a small property at the edge of town, and asked if I could put a sign up. And he shared with me that he owned his property. He was on a fixed senior income, but he said the costs for everything were going up and up, and he was looking and facing the reality of having to potentially sell just to meet his daily needs. And that is exactly where the Conservative Party is going with this election. Affordability is what we're hearing at the door. And so things like the carbon tax is adding to the cost of everything. We need to address our environment. Absolutely we do. But a carbon tax won't lower emissions, and it raises the cost for everyone. So what the platform that you're hearing the Conservative Party roll out is exactly addressing and proportionately addressing more to those at the lower income levels of our society. For instance, the first income tax bracket cut going from 15 to 13.75% over a 4-year mandate. That proportionally helps the lowest income the most. 15% tax credits for fitness, for arts, for removing the income tax from parental benefits, things like that, addressing working families, addressing the cost of living. That is, if you want an overarching theme from the Conservative Party going into this election, it's affordability. And at the doors, that's what we keep hearing over and over again.
Absolutely, especially for seniors on fixed incomes.
Absolutely.
So I hear that a lot. I run a group every Wednesday morning at the Active Lifestyle Center here in Chatham, and that is a big one. Affordability, all the prices are going up on everything, and their income's not.
That's right. It's not keeping pace with
Yeah. Can we explain a little bit where carbon tax is? So not everybody
Sure.
sees carbon tax. They go buy something, they don't see it. Where is the carbon tax and where are they paying it?
The carbon tax is embedded into the cost of fossil fuels, and so you'll see it at the pumps, okay? But it's embedded in the transportation costs of goods and services as they go, let's say, from our farms, okay, through the processing sector, through the retail sector, through that transportation web. At the primary level, just certain elements of farm fuel are exempted.
Okay.
Right? But if you're drying grain corn, that's not exempted. Sorry, that's the word I meant. And so it's things like that. So it's basically embedding that cost. And to be against the carbon tax, people shouldn't confuse that with being against environmental initiatives. Our home farm has what I would say is a bit of a timeline from the past and into the future. We are blessed that there is an oil well on the home farm. So that area has had fossil fuel production over the past 20 plus years. Also, there are solar panels there, and we have to move from that economy, but it's not going to happen overnight. We have to use the resources that Canada has, and the Shears plan for a national energy corridor for moving pipelines and moving fossil fuels toward the east, potentially hydroelectric, green, clean energy toward the west. From Quebec, that makes a lot of sense to so many people.
Yeah. On that topic of fossil fuels and fuel and being kind of self-sufficient as a country, we've just witnessed over the last week Saudi Arabia get hit.
Yes.
Some refineries or whatever. That affects the global price of fuel. Now, if we were self-sufficient, that wouldn't hurt us as much. Am I right there or no?
My understanding is we're taking in 50,000 barrels of Saudi oil into eastern Canadian ports on a daily basis, into the refineries off
Every
the
day.
Gulf. Every day. And so if we could, and we have that resource, we could be energy self-sufficient. Absolutely. We are not. We're importing it there, and we're frustrated on exporting it from Western Canada.
Yep.
Why can we not do that for ourselves and use those profits and use that energy and use our innovation, our tech knowledge in the country to drive forward cleaner processes within the fossil fuel sector and drive forward alternate energy sources. Okay. We have to keep looking in that direction. And I do have faith in our Canadian people, in our Canadian tech sector, on driving those innovations forward.
Okay, because people seen fuel at the pumps go from
Absolutely.
101 and 102 to 123 and 125 in like 8 minutes.
A conservative government actually negotiated the Paris Accords. Okay. Those are targets that we're not meeting on the present path that we're on. In order to get that through a carbon tax, it's got to be north of $100 a ton. We're at $20 a ton, right? So that won't get us there. We're not getting. We have to go another path to meet our international accords, which is part of the conservative agenda to address environmental concerns.
Okay. So a lot of what you hear on social media, is people on the left claiming the people on the right just want to destroy the environment. Okay.
Yes.
And that's what you see. That's what you hear, and you've seen that for years. How do you address that? How do you get the people on the other side that are going NDP or Liberal to think that the Conservatives are working in favor of the environment?
When I look where I live, I'm blessed to live right now on the home farm that my grandfather bought in 1949. And that farm, the environmental resources that we have to work with, I know are in better shape now than they were 70 years ago. It's 1949 that he moved on to there. And that's the background that I come from, agriculture. So many strides have been made forward. And there's more we can do. There's always more that we can do to protect the environment and to make it better. But we've come a long ways. And so those of us that live in the environment where we work and raise our families, we want it to be a better and a safer and a cleaner place for our families. And that goes across the board, particularly for conservative, for everyone. So we're working in that direction.
Okay. Now let's talk about the leaders. All right. When we talk about the leaders, I've asked, Tony Walsh and Kate Olmsted when they were in, would you ever distance yourself from Andrew Scheer? What do you think about Andrew Scheer? Have you met Andrew Scheer? And because right now, especially right now, today is an odd time where, if this was a week ago asking somebody, it'd be a different story because the story's coming out with Trudeau. We're not going to go into that too much today. But is there a time that you would distance yourself from Scheer or anything?
I am part of the Conservative team, and I stand with the Conservative team, and I support our leader. You hear lots about the leaders, right? Sure. And with the news that's breaking today, Canadians are smart people. That's all we need to say. They can make their own determinations there. But when it comes to Scheer, so many people have underestimated him his whole life. He was elected at age 25, knocking off the longest serving MP.
Okay.
He was the youngest Speaker of the House, and he became the leader of the party when that was not expected. And so people underestimate him. Yeah, have I met him? I've met him a couple of times. He's a nice guy. One of the faults I keep hearing is that he's a nice guy. Let's think about that, folks.
Nobody wants to be known as a nice guy.
You know, he is a nice guy, but don't mistake that there's no backbone there.
Yeah. All right. So what now? What do you see in the future for Chatham-Kent 4 years from now?
Well,
Chatham-Kent Leamington. Sorry about that.
Chatham-Kent Leamington. It's a big riding. Boy, you know, we do have issues here. Number one right now is affordability. You know, so to try and make an easier time for people to get by and to get ahead. So that is the slogan that you're hearing from the Conservative Party. It's not surprising that you hear from the Liberal Party that they want to choose forward, because it doesn't appear that they want to look back. And so the debt that we're piling up right now really, really is concerned me. I hope 4 years from now that our books will be almost balanced. You know, certainly the commitment from the leader, from Andrew, is that they'll be balanced in 5 years. The commitment is that our whole platform right now, it will be fully costed and examined by the Parliamentary Budgetary Officer, or the office. That is not what the Liberal Party is doing. They are now saying they will not submit their platform for costing. We will. And so 4 years from now, I hope to be right here asking for your vote again and saying that we're on the brink of a balanced budget, that folks are having an easier time of getting by, and the future's even brighter.
Okay. Now, I got a couple questions here. How do you get the NDPs and Liberals to want to vote Conservative? How do you get them to make the switch? And how would you get people that have been Conservative, that have slid a little bit more right to the PPC side of things? Mm-hmm. So let's start with, you know, what is your message to the people on the left to come to the Conservative Party?
I'll go back to the very first principle of our party. The very first principle is that balance. We need to take care of the vulnerable of our society, and we also need to restore integrity, honesty, and respect for our leaders. And I think that's been tremendously lost with the happenings. When have we had a Prime Minister that's been convicted of breaking Canada's conflict of interest laws? Not once, folks, but twice. And now blocking our CMP investigation for obstruction of justice. Is that what we want in a Prime Minister? So what do I want to see? How would I draw people over to the integrity of the party, to the integrity of our leadership, to the integrity of our candidates? So that's what I would say to that. To the far right of the party, I would say that we have an obligation and we want to take care of the vulnerable of our society. I believe in government. I'm not a libertarian. I believe that the market is the best mechanism that we have for transferring the value of goods and services. So I believe in that. I believe that in order for that to work, it's got to be balanced. There has to be a balance of power. And so I would say, come and come with your heart, come with your highs, come with your mind.
Awesome stuff. And on the global scale here, when we're talking, you're federal,
sure.
Right?
Yes,
You'll be
absolutely.
dealing with all the world's leaders,
right.
Or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we stand as Canada right now, and where do you see us moving forward in the future here?
Roughly speaking, Canada is at 37 million people and change, or what, 0.5% of the world's population, something like that. I'm proud of Canada that we've at times boxed above our weight in international scenes. I'm not so proud over the last 4 years with Canada's reputation abroad. I think we have the ability to have an influence internationally because we are not a major player from a population perspective, from an economic clout perspective. We matter. And as long as we remember that we don't matter, we do matter. What do I mean by that? I've had some experience internationally in a very small subsector. It's kind of the sector that's close to my heart, the vegetable industry. I've had a chance to represent Canada on the international stage. And when we come to those stages, professional, with integrity, we are listened to by the major players because we are professional and we have integrity. That's what we need Canada to do on the international stage. Stand up for who we are and for our values and principles. We will be heard and we will be respected.
Awesome. Now, to get to this spot where you are now, you had to go through the nomination process. You had amazing candidates, Toyin Crandall, amazing,
Mike Grail, David Van Dam, good
all
people.
Amazing, and in my opinion, we had an amazing guy, Dave Van Kesteren, who has served the community for a while. What do you got to say about that team and that talent around the party? And what's it like? Have you talked to Dave about the whole situation?
Yeah, so first of all, back to the nomination campaign. That whole process, and that was a process, folks. Full credit to the nominees for the energies and all the folks. As I'm out meeting doors, I'm meeting many of them. And that has created such an energy for the Conservative Party locally. And you're seeing that right now in the countryside. So full kudos to them, to the candidates and their teams. DBK, what can I say about DBK? As I go around and I talk to people, DBK was known as a constituency guy. It didn't matter whether you were a Liberal or NDP leaning. When you walked into a constituency office, you were served. I would like the honor to earn that very, very same reputation. I have nothing but respect for him, and I really appreciate his support, and I look forward to trying to fill his shoes.
Awesome. And where can people volunteer, or how do they get a hold of your campaign to do stuff if they want to participate?
Folks, go online, www.daveepp.ca. Just click on there. There's opportunities to donate. There's opportunities to volunteer. There's opportunities. Come to our campaign offices, 835 Queen Street South here in Chatham, at the Dollarama No Frills Mall, or in Leamington, 258 Oak Street East, which is the Plumbrook Plaza Mall. That's a hard combination to say, Plumbrook Plaza. Come on, drop in. We've got great, exactly. We've got great people that are in there from 8 in the morning till 9 at night. Sorry, 9 in the morning till 8 at night. There we go. Sorry, guys.
Hard-working crew.
Thanks so much for all the time. Thank you. Kudos to my team that's out there and out there on a daily basis.
And they can go online to get signs.
Absolutely. Click on for a sign. We've got people that will gladly bring them out to you. Click for a sign. Click to volunteer. Come on out and help us.
Okay, last two questions. Why should people get out to the polls and vote in general for whatever party they want to? And why should they be voting for you?
First of all, why should you vote? Why should you care? There are people in this world, and I've been lucky enough to do some traveling, that don't have this opportunity. We should never take it for granted. I had a conversation with a gentleman about 2 weeks ago. He lives half-time in Canada, half-time in Hong Kong. His wife is from there. And he had tears in his eyes as he explained the fragility at times of our democracy. Folks, whether you vote for me or not, vote. Don't take that for granted. For me, I would ask to earn your trust. I guess what I bring is some experience representing folks. I've had the opportunity to do it in smaller settings and progressively larger settings, and I would be honored to earn your vote, earn your trust, and represent you in Ottawa.
Awesome. Hey, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben.
And hey, guys, share, like, comment, ask questions, and Dave will get back to you later. And again, October 21st is Election Day. Get out there and vote. So thank you guys very much for watching, commenting, and sharing this. Dave, thank you very much again, and talk to you guys soon.
Take care.